Several years ago in 2016, I posted a video right here on my YouTube channel of a new effects pedal that I had bought at the time. I set up my little yellow ottoman, which I still have by the way, turned on the camera, plugged my guitar in, and just let her rip. And surprisingly enough, that video garnered several thousand views. Sadly, I sold that pedal several years later, and it's kind of been in the back of my mind ever since. It was one of my favorite fuzz pedals of all time, and it's none other than the Abominable Electronics Toke Machine. So, strap yourselves in, Doomers, fire up your ripsticks. It's time to play some heavy metal through a fuzz pedal. Alright, so the Toke Machine. I've got a lot of memories with this little pedal here, and as you can imagine, what initially intrigued me about this pedal was the very colorful artwork, which I want to say it was pretty unique at the time. There really wasn't a pedal like this on the market. I was just amazed that someone had made a pedal and drew like pot leaves on it. There's a burning church that lights up when you play the pedal, and there's a half man, half skeleton guy smoking a doobie that also lights up when you engage the octave switch. So as you can imagine, a guy in his mid-20s seeing a pedal like this, it just blew my mind, and I was like, I have to have this pedal. I had just learned about the band Sleep, Mono Lord, and other kind of doom metal bands at the time, and so I was chasing that sound. So I knew that I had to order the Toke Machine. A few years after I had made that initial video on my yellow ottoman, and after I had played a handful of shows with the pedal, I ended up selling that pedal as well as about 12 other effects pedals that I had bought. Among other things, amplifiers and guitars. You know, sorry to get all personal right now, but I was going through this very unhealthy cycle at the time where I would buy a bunch of gear only to end up selling it about a year later. And I know that's probably pretty common to a lot of guitar players. I really couldn't afford any of this equipment. I financed a lot of it. I was doing that because I was really unhappy with who I was as a person, and I was trying to fill like this void in my life with stuff and with things. It took me a while to learn how to not do that. And so, I had this really terrible case of gas, right? Gear acquisition syndrome, for anybody that doesn't know. And what I really needed to do at the time, and what I've learned to do since then, is just appreciate the equipment, appreciate the things that I have. And so several years after that, I went on to play through a Digitech GSP 2101, which is a really kind of crappy old effects unit from the early 90s, but I sort of forced myself to use that piece of equipment for several years. I even played gigs with it, and guess what? It did its job, and I sounded great when I played through it, and I learned a lot about myself and about just the importance of creating art. I wanted to share a quick quote from the great Rick Rubin, the producer. He's talking about being creative, and nothing more is needed. There are no excuses, meaning that you already have everything within you, and you already have the tools that you need to create music. At that time, I had enough equipment to make music, but I really wasn't, okay? I was just trying to hoard more things and try to buy more things to feel better about myself. If that's you out there today, try to learn from my misfortune and just think about the amazing equipment that you already do have and try to make some music with it. That is the whole point. Let's make some music, guys. Well, all that to say, guys, the Toke Machine is back, and I'm taking another look at it in this video. And I think what I'm attempting to do is restore that part of my life now that I do have a little bit of extra funds to purchase a pedal like this. This really is a fun pedal, both sonically and aesthetically. But before we hear what the pedal sounds like, I wanted to dig into a little bit of history of Abominable Electronics as a company. Abominable Electronics was created by Patrick Emmons in 2013 in Durham, North Carolina. Patrick Emmons started the company from an idea he had to make a big muff-style pedal called the Hail Satan. He spray painted the pedal with an inverted cross and used a water slide decal of a goat head and then posted it onto a Facebook group. Soon, Emmons said that several other members of the Facebook group also wanted one of these sick pedals, so he scraped together around $500, bought some more enclosures, parts, and tools to build more pedals, and the rest is history. Emmons said that he has now sold over 6,000 units and has since moved the operation to Seattle, Washington. The entire Abominable operation is run by Emmons himself, so these pedals are often sold out as soon as a fresh batch is released. They can be found on Reverb, however, which is how I was able to get my hands on a first edition rare artwork Toke Machine. I don't really know exactly how rare it is, but there's not an unlimited amount like there are with Boss pedals. Emmons works closely with other companies like Death Wish Incorporated and God City Instruments, which are both owned by Kurt Ballou from the band Converge. And I think Kurt has been on the forefront of some of the trends in underground music and heavy music for the past 20, 25 years. And he has his own effects pedals that he puts out, and I think that they are really cool and in touch with that underground hardcore, metalcore kind of ethos. So I remember the Toke Machine popping up in around 2014, which was the year where I noticed there was this huge shift in the pedal industry. Like, the effects pedal industry was exploding. And maybe that was because I was hanging out at Eastside Music Supply in Nashville all the time, but I was just aware of what was happening. But I distinctly remember 2014 being a effects pedal boom year. Reverb.com seemed to be the new place to buy and sell gear. Previously, it was eBay. There seemed to be all of these grassroots effects pedal companies popping up all the time. New pedal builders and companies were popping up everywhere. Guitar players, pedal boards were getting bigger and fancier. Pedal Train came out around that time. Summer Namm was happening in Nashville. I think that was like maybe the second or third year that Summer Namm had been hosted in Nashville, which was really exciting. Bill Finnegan made the KTR pedal, basically a recreation of his mythical Klon Centaur. JHS was absolutely popping off, releasing new effects pedals all the time with their beautiful, instantly recognizable, colorful designs. All in all, it was a very happening time to be in the effects pedal industry. I found this time period to be really exciting, and there was a community that was kind of forming around some of these underground effects pedal companies. And I got to see all of that sort of come together at Eastside Music Supply when they hosted a little after party at Namm. And I have a lot of memories of meeting, people from Old Blood Noise, meeting Bill Finnegan, basically just meeting people from the industry and just realizing that they're just people, man. They're people that love guitar gear, and they want to make really cool pedals, and they want to do it full time. And I think the moral of the story there is to find something that you really enjoy and love doing and just keep doing that. There could be an unforeseen tidal wave that you can ride out and become successful from. Of course, that success is not guaranteed, but at least you'll still have a soul even if you don't succeed at your goal. To me, there were two main companies that stood out and were sort of the outlaw pedal builders, not the cutesy JHS stuff with a panther on there and a beautiful color, but effects pedals that looked like they belonged on the World War II battlefield. And those two companies were Lone Wolf Audio and Abominable Electronics. I know these two companies probably don't want to be compared to each other, but there are some similarities both aesthetically and culturally that sort of put these two companies together. And I think that has to do with the fact that both of these pedal builders are very connected to underground heavy music scenes. These are the pedal builders for music styles like death metal, black metal, grindcore, power violence, doom, and sludge metal. There are quite a few other companies today that make pedals for those genres. As you can imagine, they popped up. But to me, those were the two companies that were the forerunners that catered to guitar players and musicians that were in those subgenres of heavy metal. What separated these two pedal companies from the rest is that they took the amp in a box pedal concept and took it to a whole new level by releasing highly sculptable circuits geared towards extreme musical genres. Before the pedal boom of 2014, you had to own a high-gain tube amp, which was becoming increasingly more cumbersome to use as digital guitar technology was blasting on the scene and becoming favored by so many guitar players. Well, now, you for sure didn't need an expensive 96-pound orange amplifier. You could get a great doom or death metal sound from your solid-state amp if you put one of these blood-soaked, weed-encrusted pedals in front of it, and guess what? We're all the better for it. So I've done several videos on Lone Wolf audio pedals, and I have some plans to do a few more because I've since gotten some of his Void manufacturing pedals. Those videos are coming out very soon. But I remember Abominable being a really intriguing company, not only because of the artwork, but because it was finally a pedal builder who was making effects for extreme metal musicians. When the Toke Machine first came out, it was announced on Abominable's Facebook page as a ballsy vintage fuzz with an octave switch, a thick and meaty fuzz tuned with heavy guitar and bass in mind. There are 3 controls on the pedal: volume, tone, and fuzz, and an LED clipping toggle that lights up the fire in the church and adds even more thickness to the tone. This is all topped off with an octave foot switch, which brings on a chaotic sounding octave up tone on top of it all. Emin states, "We've added more bass in the tone stack and input capacitors to give this effect a very bass-friendly sound. If you keep the tone knob all the way counterclockwise, you get a massive low end added to the effect. As you turn the tone knob up, it will thin out your signal with the octave switch on. And with the octave switch on, the pedal creates an almost lo-fi up octave ear shredding sound." So that is another really important thing to mention, is that this pedal works fantastic with guitar or bass. And later on in the video, you'll get to see me playing some bass through this pedal, and I think you'll agree it sounds freaking huge. Another thing that I really loved about the Toke Machine is that it kind of does the Hendrix thing too. So it does the Doom guy thing, but then if you want to rip a cool Hendrixy solo, you step on that extra button and all of a sudden you've got an Octavia at your feet, which I think is really cool. I know it's not exactly an Octavia fuzz that Hendrix used, but it's something like that, and I think it gets the point across really well. All right, so now that we understand a little bit of the history behind this fantastic pedal, let's listen to what it sounds like. I'm gonna play my baritone guitar, which is tuned to B standard through the pedal, and then I'm going to play some bass so you can hear what the bass guitar sounds like through this thing. It's a 6-string carving bass with a low B string on it, so you get to hear that. And then lastly, I'm gonna play my standard tune 8-string guitar and play a little bit of lead for you. Everything is running through my Mesa Boogie JP2C on the clean channel, so you can really hear what the pedal sounds like through a pretty nice amplifier. right, you guys, thank you so much for making it this far in this epic look at the Abominable Electronics Toke Machine. I had a wonderful time making this video. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun too. And as you can hear, it really does that Doom thing quite well. There should be a couple of these available on Reverb right now if you're looking to get one of these. They usually go for right around 200 bucks, maybe a little over 200. I'm still a pretty new YouTuber in the sense that I haven't really made consistent videos for a long time, but I'm back and this is what I'm doing with my life now. So I could use all the help I can get. If you could please like this video, leave a comment, let me know what you thought, let me know some things that I can do better. What kind of pedals do you want to see in the future? What kind of videos would you like to see from me? I'm looking forward to hearing from you and what you have to say. As I end all of my videos, wherever you're at when you're watching this, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.